All right, let's talk about what currying means in JavaScript. Currying just means breaking a large function into smaller, pure functions. Pure functions just means it has no side effects, it's not modifying anything, right? One input, same output all the time. Now, a non-currying function can take more than one argument like this. Currying means you're just composing multiple functions into one larger function. So this is the regular way to add three numbers. Let's do this the currying way. Const curry add is going to be equal to, remember curry? We have to break these into three functions because it's taking three arguments. The first function will take your first argument, num1, right? And then it returns a second function that takes also one argument, num2, and then num3, and then num3 will return the console.log of num1 plus num2 plus num3. Now, if we call curry add 1, 2, 3, we're going to get 6. Okay, so when you do currying, instead of having a parentheses, then using commas to separate your arguments, you just separate them by calling them in connecting parentheses like this. Okay, if you look at this, the first way is actually a lot nicer. Why is this way even feasible? Well, this has to do with closure and scope and how functional programming works. Okay, if you look at this, each of these functions will have their own scope right here. Okay. Now, what's cool about this is that due to closure in JavaScript, whatever variable we have on the outer scope will be accessible by each of these inner functions. Okay. And that is how it was able to remember what num1 was, what num2 was, and what num3 was, right? Even though these functions are in different scopes. Okay. So that is how currying is useful. Okay, let's take a look at a better example. So let's say, let's have const job app. Now, this job application is going to be a function, right, that takes in a few arguments, name, age, years of XP, and is hired. Okay, and then if all of these pass, if name and then age over 17, and then let's do years XP greater than or equal to 5, and they agree to get hired, then we're going to console.log, let's say name is hired. Okay, so this is a regular function. Now, what's the usage of currying for this? Well, remember those times when you apply and like things are pre-filled? Let's do const pre-filled app is going to be equal to, now this is where we're going to use the bind keyword. We're going to use job app dot bind. I'll just say this for now, and I will explain how all of this works. Okay, and then this allows us to pre-fill in something. So let's say fill, age is 30, years of XP is 5, and they agree to get hired. Let's not fill in the get hired yet. Okay, so now if we call pre-filled app and just pass in that we want to get hired, I want to be hired. Okay, it says Phil is hired because when you start this pre-filled app, it's going to look at this function. What bind does is that if you do job app.bind, the first argument you pass into bind will be the this keyword when you call job app. But in this case, it doesn't matter. That's not what we're using bind for. So you can do an empty object, still works. Symbol, still works. An empty array, it still works. Okay, because we're not using the this keyword. But what bind does is that it also returns a function. That function we have is this keyword pointed to the first argument. But if you put in other arguments, it's going to look at this function and it's going to say, oh, okay, the first three arguments of job app will be filled in with these given values. So that would be name, age, and years of XP. Okay. And it's still missing one, right? It is hired. So when we call it and we pass in only one argument, it will automatically assume that, oh, hey, since there's only one argument missing, he's actually filling in the last argument. Okay. Now, if we change this to, let's say, Phil, age 30, years of XP, if I do like 3, you see that it goes away, right? Because it fails the check. So when you do bind, it still remembers all the conditions of that function body, right? It's only fixing the this keyword and it's pre-filling in some other information. Okay. Okay. Let's do one more simple example and then we can wrap this up.